Hello. So this video is so we can all better understand the recurrent monitoring system. This is often known as the RMS. And you're going to see on how the RMS is the M&E system that CRS uses. More specifically, USAID has contracted a group to kind of see how we're doing every couple months against our baseline and how we're progressing, and will inform our final evaluation. So what is it? Well, first of all, I'm not going to go over each and every details, but what the RMS is looking at how households are dealing with the different shocks. What type of shocks they're having, how they're coping with them. Is it changing their food security? How exposed are they to these type of shocks? What is some of the resilience methods that they're kind of doing, and how we can support them and do that. Now, it's interesting. The recurrent monitoring system, or the RMS, actually started 2 months after our baseline that was done and officially released on May 2019. So the first one started in July 2019. And it covers an entire year within intervals of around every 2 months. Now, it does happen for 2 years, and you're going to see that right now we are on RMS 1, and that will bring us right up until about the end of July or end of June, and then we'll go into RMS 2. The sample set is based on a sample panel. So what they do is they interview the same households every 2 months, and in that process, they think it's going to be on average, and they think it has proven to be around 30 minutes to complete each one of these. What we have here is you can actually see now they have 2 types of households they're actually interviewing. They're interviewing the treatment and the control. And now the control is PSMP Wariata and Cabellis that are not being covered by Livelihoods for Resilience, or another NGO actually. On the other hand, the treatment is the Wariatas and Cabellis are actually monitoring. These are activities that we've actually have been doing and are doing activities. And it's worth to know, we have Shala, which overlaps with LRO, JALP, and DISA. We have Sarawa overlaps with World Vision, and then we have ATJK, which we would say is a non-overlapping. It's a little complicated, but what we should really look at is this is a USAID contract that they've given over to Tango. You remember, Tango's the same group that did the baseline. Tango's the same one that when we talk about USAID's measuring for resilience, remember we used that during our revised annual work plan when we compared IHD to USAID resilience language. They have been given the contract to do this. So they did the baseline. They're now going to do the recurrent monitoring system. And assumingly, they're going to also probably do the final evaluation. So, but they work with Chematrica here, and Chematrica actually does the data collection. You may hear Save the Children. In this case, Save the Children is kind of administering the grant, but it's really Tango carrying out the work. So deliverables. At the end of every 2 months, actually it's every quarter, we should be getting full reports and 2 to 4 page brief. We haven't got all of those, but what we have decided is every year or every time they do this, we should come up with a very brief report that allows us to understand where we're going. Remember, this covers not only Livelihoods for Resilience in Oromia, CRS and MCS, but it also covers CARE's Livelihoods for Resilience, which covers the 3 other regions of Amara, Tigray, and SNMPR. So for M&E colleagues, we'll send more details out, but just to let people know that there's a baseline that we're looking at. There's the protocols on how the data is collected. There's the methodology that kind of shows which of these questions we ask. There's the tools. The tools were reoccurring RMS number 1, year 1, rounds 1 through 3. You also hear RMS, sorry, this should read RMS 1, round 4. That is because there was a disruption due to COVID-19. They've now actually included some of the questionnaires in the questionnaire, some COVID-19 questions. And those are some of the questions we've included in some of our cash distribution, post-monitoring distribution, and some of our exit interviews, and maybe even for phone surveys. And then we actually have some of the reports. I'll be sending out the report shortly. So again, RMS 1 through 3, sorry, RMS round 1 through 3, started as of July 2019. Round 4 is actually been adjusted so we can actually get more information about COVID-19. And we were quite surprised. Chemetric has been able to get around about a 90% response through some best practices in doing phone surveys. So right now they collected the data. It will be completed. It has been completed, I understand, as of the end of May. We should get a draft report in June. For RMS 2, that's going to probably start in July 20. And it's going to be, again, collecting the same data. So now you're going to see things like RMS 2, round 1. The data is going to be, or the data collection tools are going to be about, if not the same. So I'll be sending out an analysis here shortly, if not with this presentation. And this one here is more for our M&E colleagues, and we can look at that. This was how they selected the areas, but I don't think it's relevant for a general audience. So again, thank you very much. That was a very brief overview of the Recurrent Monitoring System, or RMS. The major takeaways are to be aware of that USAID is gathering data every 2 to 3 months. It's helping us understanding how we're working with our households so they're more resilient to the shocks. And we'll be sharing those data sets as they come out. The next big one will be this COVID-19 add-on, which will be interesting. We also need to be aware of that there will be more data collection in 2019. Again, primarily through phone calls, and so we don't actually need to remain, we don't need to coordinate that, but it is good to know that it's going on. Well, again, thank you very much.